How was the word for wheel in Greek, which is actually a contraction of thelina?
Θα.
Very good. So if you say, for example, we will do it tomorrow or we'll be doing it tomorrow, how would that be?
Θα το κάνουμε αύριο.
Good. Θα το κάνουμε αύριο. We won't be doing it tomorrow. The negation, the then, is going to come first. We won't be doing it tomorrow.
Δεν θα το κάνουμε αύριο.
Very good. Then θα το κάνουμε αύριο. So we get through quite a lot of information there now before we get to the verb.
Yep.
Then θα το... We don't know what's going on until we get to the verb. Then θα το κάνουμε αύριο. We won't do it tomorrow. We won't be doing it tomorrow. So we've been translating the future, like θα κάνω, for example, as I will do or I will be doing. I've been giving both of those translations. Now, in fact, in Greek, we have two different verb forms to show which one we mean, whether we want to say I will do or I will be doing. Well, most of the time we have two different verb forms to make that difference clear, but kano is an exception. So θα κάνω can mean I will do or I will be doing. The same with perimeno. Θα perimeno, for example, could mean I will wait or I will be waiting. But otherwise, we have a way to show this difference in Greek. With the great majority of verbs, we have an alternative verb form to use to show that we mean I will do it rather than I will be doing it. I will write rather than I will be writing. Photography is not a Greek word, but it's built of Greek parts. It was coined by an Englishman, I believe. Photography is not a Greek thing, but it's been built of Greek parts, this word. We have the PH giving us F, letting us into that. So photography means writing with light. I write in Greek is grapho. And we have that G like in ero, the word for I. Grapho. Ero, grapho.
Γράφω.
Θα γράφω means I will be writing. Only I will be writing, not I will write. So if we use the standard form of the verb with θα, we get I will be writing. So, like, for example, if I said to you, what will you do when you graduate? Θα γράφω. I will be writing. So we're not looking for exact translations, no, between English and Greek, because in English it's quite strange to say I will be writing in this context. In Greek, what we want to look at is, do we refer to an ongoing period of time or do we refer to a closed period of time? What will you do when you graduate? I will write. This is ongoing. I will be writing, even though that's an odd thing to say in English. So we'll say θα γράφω in Greek, something like I will be writing. Now, if we want to say I will write it, we're referring to something specific and closed in time, then we will need to use our alternative form of the verb. So other than γράφω, we have also γράψω.
Γράψω.
Γράψω. So we have γράφω and γράψω. So if you want to say, for example, I will write it, we have a closed period of time referring to that it. So we'll use our alternative form of the verb to show that. How would that be?
Θα το γράψω.
And more like like in ero, θα το γράψω. How would you say he will write it?
Θα το γράψει.
Θα το γράψει. But if somebody says to you, what will he do once he graduates, and you will say he will write, then what you want is something like he will be writing. So you won't change to the alternative form. We will stay with our standard form of the verb. So he will be writing.
Θα το γράφει.
Well, you said to there, you said it, and to gives us a feeling of something actually quite close. Now it's quite specific, so there it would fit better γράψει, θα το γράψει. But that's not a hard and fast rule. It all just depends on the context. If we were to say something like, he will write it every morning, there we would be referring to an open, ongoing period of time. So we would stay with our standard verb form, γράφει. So we can use this alternative version, γράψω, only in some situations, like after θα. We already saw that γράφω without a θα or something else that makes us have to choose between γράφω and γράψω. Γράφω means I write or I'm writing. To γράφω, I write it, I'm writing it. Only in some structural situations we have to think about do we mean an open, ongoing period of time or a closed one? But only in some situations, not all the time in the language. So after tha, we have to think about whether we want grafo or grapso, looking at the context. Also after na, we've seen already that tha is just a contraction of theli na. So if you say, for example, I want to write, you have your na there, which means you're going to have to think about what you mean. So let's imagine we want to say, I want to write, and we mean in life generally, like I want to be a writer. Is this an open, ongoing time, or is this a closed time? I want to write in the sense of I want to be a writer.
Open.
Open, ongoing, I want to be a writer, no? So what form of the verb do you use?
Grafo.
Grafo, our normal standard version of the verb. So how would that be I want to write in this context?
Θέλω να γράφω.
Θέλω να γράφω. Good. But if you say, for example, I want to write tomorrow, is this an open period of time or a closed period of time?
Closed.
It's closed now, in which case you have to use γράψω to show that. So how would that be?
Θέλω να γράψω αύριο.
Good. Θέλω να γράψω αύριο. If you said, I want to write it, that by itself, I want to write it without any other context, does it sound like an open, ongoing period of time or a closed one? I want to write it.
Closed.
So how would that be? I want to write it.
Θέλω το γράψω.
Slower, slower.
Θέλω να το γράψω.
Very good. Θέλω να το γράψω. Good. We've encountered hypo, meaning something like below or under, hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, hypothermia, low body temperature. Υπογράφω, what do you think that might mean? Υπογράφω, I underwrite.
Sign.
Good. Υπογράφω, I underwrite, I sign. Υπογράφω, I sign. Now, if you were to say, I will sign it, is this an open period of time or a closed one?
Closed.
So what might υπογράφω change to? If γράφω becomes γράψω, υπογράφω.
Υπογράψω.
Good. So I will sign it.
Θα υπογράψω. Θα το υπογράψω.
Θα το υπογράψω. Good. But imagine a context. It's all about context. No. If you want to say, for example, I will be signing, like it will be my job. I will be the one that's responsible for signing all of the documents that will be coming. Well, is this an open or a closed period?
Open.
It's an open one, no? So I will be signing.
Θα γράφω. Θα υπογράφω.
Very good. Θα υπογράφω. So we're not really looking for direct translations of I will write, I will be writing. The question we want to ask ourselves is if we're referring to something that feels like an open period of time or a closed period of time. And that distinction, that difference between the two is going to become much clearer as we continue to analyze and use Greek. And also, it's worth mentioning again that this doesn't happen with every single verb. There are an important group of quite common verbs that don't have alternative forms, the ones we've been using in this kind of sentence structure until now. So, έχω, ξέρω, περιμένω, κάνω. These verbs don't have an alternative form. They don't change. But the great majority of verbs in Greek do have an alternative form.